This empire was founded in 1299 AD by the leader of the Turkic tribes of Oghuz, namely Osman I in Sogat. And in 1354, with the conquest of the Balkan Peninsula, it reached the European continent, thus turning the small Ottoman state into a transcontinental country. By 1453, the Ottomans annexed the Byzantine Empire and moved their capital to the city after the conquest of Constantinople by Muhammad the Conqueror. In the 16th and 17th centuries, the Ottoman Empire at its peak under Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent was a multicultural and multilingual state that covered all of southeastern Europe, parts of Central Europe and Western Asia, parts of Eastern Europe and the Caucasus, and large parts in the north. He had brought the Horn of Africa under his control. At the beginning of the 17th century, this state had 32 provinces and a large number of vassal states, which in different periods either became new provinces or were able to enjoy relative autonomy. Due to the geographical location of the Ottoman capital, the city of Constantinople, this empire became a bridge between the three continents for 6 centuries, and was able to gain control over many areas of the Mediterranean Sea. In the past, it was believed that this empire went into decline with the death of Suleiman I. However, contemporary historians believe that the Ottoman government during the 17th and 18th centuries, with a strong military and economy, was still one of the superpowers in the world. However, during the 28 years of peace between 1740 and 1768, the Ottoman military fell far behind European armies in terms of efficiency, including those of their regional rivals, Russia and the Habsburgs, which led to successive defeats at the end of the 18th century and the beginning of the 19th century. Although this empire continued to lose territories in the 19th century, it was able to become stronger than before with the modernization of the Ottoman government during the so-called adjustment period. However, this issue could not prevent their defeats during the 19th century, and many of the former territories of this empire became new independent countries. During World War I, the Ottomans allied with the German Empire and joined the front of the Central Powers, hoping to end their long isolation. However, they were hardly defeated in the Great War. During the First World War, the Ottoman Empire faced many problems, including internal problems and various revolts, such as the Arab Revolt, which was very effective in their final defeat in the war. During World War I, several genocides against Armenians, Assyrians, and Greeks were committed by this government, which resulted in the death of millions and also made Turkic speakers in the majority in Anatolia, paving the way for the establishment of the Republic of Turkey. The Ottoman defeat in the First World War led to the occupation of the lands of this empire by the Allies. Finally, the victorious forces divided the Ottoman territory in the Middle East according to the Sykes-Picot Agreement, which was based on the ideas of the British Empire and the French Third Republic, and was done without considering the country divisions in the Ottoman Empire. However, the revolt of Anatolian Turkic speakers against the occupation by the Allies in the Turkish War of Independence led to the establishment of the Republic of Turkey and ultimately the disintegration of the Ottoman Empire. The first Ottoman army was composed entirely of Turkmen nomads. The military history of the Ottoman Empire can be divided into 5 main periods. 1. The founding period, which refers to the years 1300 to 1453. 2. The classic period between 1451 and 1606. 3. The period of reforms that includes the years 1606 to 1826. 4. The period of modernization during the years 1826 and 1858. 5. The decline period that was between 1861 and 1918. The Ottomans started using firearms from the end of the 14th century, and as a result, other military units such as infantry were formed. Regular cavalry equipped with firearms and mortars consisting of grenadiers who threw explosives called mortars and soldiers who had the task of supporting the artillery. The Ottoman Empire was the first gunpowder empire, followed by Safavid Iran and the Gurkha Empire of India. In the 14th century, the Ottoman Empire adopted the gunpowder cannon. The use of gunpowder weapons by the Ottomans was so rapid that they were ahead of the European and Middle Eastern enemies in creating permanent and centralized forces specialized in the manufacture and use of firearms. But the Ottoman power and the use of artillery shocked their enemies and made two other Muslim governments, the Safavids and the Gurkhans, determined to acquire cannons. The Ottoman army was equipped with artillery during the reign of Sultan Bayezid I, and they used it in the siege of Constantinople in 1499 and 1402. Artillery units finally proved their worth as siege engines during the siege of Thessalonica in 1430. The systematic use of firearms and artillery by the Ottoman army progressed at a faster rate than its European counterparts. Janissary forces were initially an infantry force using bows and arrows. During the reign of Sultan Muhammad Fatih, they were equipped with firearms and were perhaps the first infantry force equipped with firearms in the world. Therefore, Janissaries are considered the first modern standing army. A combination of the use of artillery and their firepower was decisive, as in the Battle of Varna in 1444 against the force of Crusaders and the Battle of Utlug Beyli in 1473 against the Aquilunlu. During several centuries of their existence, the Ottomans showed a relatively great interest in building large libraries and translating various books. This interest reached its peak in the 15th century during the reign of Muhammad II. He ordered Gregory Amirotes, a Greek thinker from Trabzon, to translate Ptolemy's geography books into Arabic. Another example of Ottoman literature and knowledge was Mullah Ali Kuchi, an Iranian thinker from Samarkand who, despite being in Constantinople for only 2 or 3 years, left a tremendous impact on Ottoman literature and taught in 2 important schools of this city. Taqiyuddin Shami Observatory was built in Constantinople in 1577, and the Syrian scientist himself was active in it until 1580. However, this observatory was more interested in scientific issues than doing astrology, which caused it to be destroyed in 1580 after criticism from Islamic scholars. Taqiyuddin then went to Egypt, where he researched steam power. The population of the Ottoman Empire at the beginning of the 16th century is estimated to be approximately 11 million people. But for unknown reasons, the population of the empire in the 18th century was less than in the 16th century. The first official Ottoman census conducted in 1831 showed that the empire had a population of approximately 7 million people. But today, it is believed that this census was not very accurate. At the beginning of the 19th century, the population of the empire was probably somewhere between 25 and 32 million people. 10 million of them in European provinces, 11 million in Asian provinces, and 3 million in African provinces. The population density is much higher in European provinces. For example, the population density of the Balkans was twice that of Anatolia, 3 times that of Iraq and Syria, and 5 times that of the Arabian Peninsula. Thanks for watching.